the beginning of 2013, Operation Choke Point was an initiative that was developed and utilised by the United States Department of Justice. This could be something that's going to affect crypto in the upcoming future, and it's currently something a lot of people are feeling like it's currently happening to crypto, and there's a lot of evidence to support it. We're going to be going over it in this video and just sort of touching up on a few things, breaking down other stuff. So let's dive into it.
And Operation Choke Point.
Operation Choke Point.
Operation Choke Point. Operation Choke Point.
So what just was Operation Choke Point? So if we look at Wikipedia, we get a pretty brief explanation that Operation Choke Point was an initiative of the United States Department of Justice beginning of 2013, which investigated banks in the United States and the business they did with firearm dealers, payday lenders, and other companies believed to be at high risk for fraud and money laundering. This operation, disclosed in an August 2013 Wall Street Journal story, was officially ended in August 2017, and the FDIC settled multiple lawsuits by promising to Congress additional training for its examiners and to cease issuing informal and unwritten suggestions to banks. And this went on for some time, and it was exactly how it says for the operation. It created a choke point, a ability to slow down the system so the actual government system and the financial system could catch up with it, regulate it, and it was more or less a dirty tactic used from the banking sector. So what did the Budgeting Committee of 2016 have to say about this situation?
Department of Justice-led initiative that targets certain industries' ability to access banking services without first showing that the companies or industries are breaking the law.
So 3 years later, the Budget Committee find that there's all these different issues with the actual operation itself, and there was a lot of different kind of companies, any kind of service was scrutinized, and they were scrutinized heavily to the point of where they were cut off, and it creates the choke point. So you can imagine inside your head, you've got yourself, you've got your bank in the middle, and you've got crypto. Okay, now replace all of these details here for metaverses, DeFi chains, all of the different kind of things that's currently happening in crypto at the moment. What is the biggest bridge for crypto? It's the banking sector. If the banking sector suddenly decide we're going to create a choke point, we're going to cut off all of these different kind of exchanges, and you're already seeing that happening quite a lot in the UK. A lot of different people are suffering with this, and it's definitely a situation that's playing out, and we need to pay attention to it because it's happened previously, it's happened before. We've got reports, we've got recordings, we've got testimony of how this went down and how illegitimate and gross it was as a whole. It's very interesting to see this kind of thing coming up at the moment because crypto's time to shine is now. And I solely believe, and it's my own opinion on this, is that this is what crypto has been waiting for, is this kind of major collapse of the financial sector to a point where people see crypto as a better alternative to hedging inflation, to holding on to their actual assets. So with all of that, with what you've seen, do you believe that Operation Choke Point could possibly be coming for the crypto community? Well, there's a lot of articles that seem to think yes.
Banks have now blocked payments to and from crypto exchanges. So in 2023, will banks reverse their course and let crypto
Can the government target legitimate businesses simply because it doesn't approve of the industry? That's the question lawmakers were examining this afternoon on Capitol Hill. And the FDIC chair had some explaining to do. Correspondent Peter Ducey examines the controversial Operation Choke Point.
Legal businesses, and in effect, they're weaponizing government to meet their ideological beliefs.
Defending the feds, the FDIC chairman, who testified that new guidance has been distributed to banks not to single anyone out. And he says any scrutiny is really just part of an effort to stay ahead of cyber criminals.
What just was the timeline of Operation Choke Point, and how long did it last for? What was the conclusion of this operation? Well, the Justice Department put banks on alert. If we was to see this in crypto, it would probably play out very, very similar to how it's played out previously, because it was a tactic that's used before. They may chop and change it, but it's still going to act in the same manner. And there are documents to support this. So subpoenas are probably going to arrive for people, and this is already happening in crypto. Coinbase, all of these different places that are getting called out by the SEC, the actual people that are going to try to lead regulation. They've recently captured Do Kwon. This is huge, and he's likely going to be made an example. So you can see where these subpoenas are kind of infiltrating into currently. So you've got other agencies that are probably going to join in, and you can sort of see how this original timeline of Operation Choke Point is possibly playing out already. And I think it's really, really good that we get involved and understand what happened previously in history, so we can try better understand how the government's going to act in the future.
Operation Choke Point. Getting them to withdraw their list of unacceptable businesses was a good first step, but we must eliminate this inappropriate program. That's why I'm offering this amendment to establish a deficit-neutral reserve fund to end the Department of Justice Operation Choke Point, and frankly, in this case, to protect the Second Amendment.
So in conclusion, on January 29th, 2015, the FDIC issued a financial institution letter that states the Federal Deposit Insurance Company, FDIC, issued a financial institution letter today encouraging supervised institutions to take a risk-based approach in assessing individual customer relationships rather than declining to provide banking services to entire categories of customers without regard to the risks presented by an individual customer or the financial institution's ability to manage the risk. So on August 17th, 2017, the US Department of Justice under the Trump administration announced that the Obama administration's Operation Choke Point would officially end, stating that it was hurting legitimate businesses instead of preventing fraud as intended.
I'm offering this amendment to establish a deficit-neutral reserve fund to end the Department of Justice Operation Choke Point.
So what does this mean for cryptocurrency and the communities that surround it? If we look at the broader timeline of Operation Choke Point, it lasts from 2013 to 2017. This is around 4 years' time, and if this is applied to crypto now, it would ensure that 4 years of slow growth would happen, because you would be just bombarded by issue after issue after issue. And the Federal Reserve has recently released a policy statement, and it's a policy statement related to member bank application denial. In an effort to align the permissibility of crypto activities for all members banks of the Federal Reserve System, which includes all national banks and state member banks, the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System issued a policy statement under Section 913 of the Federal Reserve Act, limiting permissible state member bank activities while simultaneously announcing the denial of Custodia Bank application for members to the FRS. The policy statement exercised the Federal Reserve's discretionary authority under the FRA Section 913 to limit the activities of insured and uninsured state member banks to those permissible for national banks. The authority to engage in permissible activities under 913 also must be exercised consistent with Section 24 of the Federal Deposit Insurance Act, which prohibits all insured state banks from principally engaging in activities not permissible for national banks unless authorized by federal statute or the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. Section 24 of the FDIA does not apply to uninsured state banks. So if we simplify this as best as we can, it's pretty much you, your bank, and crypto exchanges, and they simply just cut off the ability from you to go from you bank crypto or crypto bank you. And this way you become locked and isolated and somewhat rim-rocked and more or less on this kind of floating iceberg, because you're going to struggle to get your money back out of crypto, which makes it even worse for people trying to get involved in crypto. It becomes a whole snake's nest of rules, regulations that come crashing down. And all of the previous content here on this channel recently has been about how this attack is playing out, and we are seeing it. And from all of the evidence that you've seen, even from back in 2013 to 2016, you can see the similarities that are playing out in the crypto community right now. So I think it's very important for everybody in crypto to just try and band together as best as possible. With SBF going down, Do Kwon following, other people following suit with that, Coinbase getting thrown lawsuits and all of these different things, it's just a huge minefield at the moment, and it's the best time for them to get us, because what they don't want to see is that exponential growth and us hold that exponential growth.
Federal regulators shut down the nation's 16th largest bank, the California-based Silicon Valley Bank, and took control of its deposits yesterday.
California regulators have closed down Silicon Valley Bank to protect insured depositors.
A major development in the banking world. The FDIC just reported that California regulators shut down Silicon Valley Bank.
Difficult to be in the evolving information technology field without having a presence in Silicon Valley and being immersed in the influences that you get out of having the proximity of all the infrastructure of technologists, companies, venture capitalists, various groupings of professional societies.
The Internet's new means of communication was viewed by many as a golden egg, and Silicon Valley was the place to take advantage of it. Netscape became the first commercial internet browser, and with its initial public stock offering, hundreds of Netscape's vested employees became overnight millionaires.
And became millionaires they did. The dot-com bubble made a lot of people rich, and it's better known as the dot-com boom in the UK, and it was known as a stock market bubble, and it's all to do with the stocks, shares and interests in Silicon Valley that began around the late 1970s or mid 1970s. Now, this era itself came in the 1990s, and it was huge, but like all bubbles, they do tend to burst, and this one did burst pretty hard. But it all came back, internet survived, and we pushed forward. That's the most important thing to take from this. So Silicon Valley collapsing was huge, and the reason why this is so huge to crypto is because of the amount of exposure crypto itself has with Silicon Valley as a bank. Well, it did prior to the collapse, and you can go through, you can do bits of research to try and figure out the links, but it's pretty well known that Silicon Valley dealt with a lot of crypto exchanges. So how this is going to go in the future, nobody knows, nobody's got a crystal ball. But with all of this kind of information we're going through and we're presenting here, you can start to see a trend forming and seeing the historical side of things playing out again now with crypto, entering this new era of technology, communities, ideas, thoughts, movements, what people want from it, it being totally decentralized, it being there for the people. Regulation is going to come crashing down, and I hope the crypto community is going to be totally ready for it. Hey folks, and welcome to the end of the video. I really appreciate you watching the content here, and if you've got any comments, questions about Operation Choke Point, or you feel like this is something that's going on, let us know in the comments section. Let us know what you think. You are what drives this channel. So once again, I really appreciate you watching. If you feel like supporting the channel and seeing more content like this and seeing the channel grow in the future, consider subscribing, consider dropping a like, consider dropping a comment. Those three small things really do help a small channel like this grow. Really appreciate you joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. As always, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware.